This video presentation covers the procedures for assembling and installing a foundation pad mounting bracket in a cast-in-place concrete pad for 82 type cabinets. Mounting brackets for 82 type cabinets are available in two sizes, one which accommodates the 82A and the 82D, and another which accommodates the 82G. Avaya Practice 631, 600, 290 provides detailed information on the installation of these cabinets. ED drawings are also available upon request to provide design specifications and pad construction details for each specific cabinet. The bracket must be ordered in advance of construction using the material ID numbers associated with the cabinet bracket. The bracket will be cast into the pad to provide a mounting surface on which the cabinet will be secured. Now, let's construct a pad and install a bracket for an 82G cabinet. Pad construction for other 82 type cabinets will be similar. It's very important that the foundation pad be properly constructed and the bracket correctly installed to allow accurate cabinet installation and to maintain the cabinet warranty. We'll begin by assembling the bracket. Open the shipping carton and remove the bracket parts and hardware. Gloves should be worn to protect your hands from sharp edges when handling the bracket. The instruction sheet is also located in the shipping carton. The instructions contain assembly information for a variety of 82 type cabinets. Review the instruction sheet and find the assembly instructions and dimensions for the bracket when used for an 82G cabinet. Lay the end plates upside down, flanges up, on the ground with the conduit openings oriented in the same direction. Space the end plates so the distance across the outside ends of the end plates is 132.5 inches as indicated in the instruction sheet. Position the rails, flanges toward the center, on the end plates. Where space is available, the bracket can be assembled with the provided rail extensions. These rail extensions extend the pad length to 169.5 inches for the 82G cabinet. Rail extensions can be used for both the 82A and 82D cabinets. See the instruction sheet for pad lengths for specific cabinets. Where end space is limited, the brackets can be installed with the end plate attached directly to the form. Attach the 4 rails to the end plates using 2 bolts and nuts in each rail. Securely tighten the bolts and nuts using a ratchet wrench. Now, turn the assembly over for better access and install the cross members. The number of cross members varies with different cabinets. Locate the cross members, position them on the rails as detailed in the instruction sheet, and secure using 4 bolts in each cross member. To complete the assembly of the bracket, locate and install the 4 concrete anchors in the appropriate holes in the end plate. The specific location of these holes is shown in the instruction sheet. Hole locations will vary depending on the cabinet to be mounted. The excavation work is shown here already completed. The excavation should be deep enough to allow for a 3 to 6 inch base of gravel or sand and provide a finished surface approximately 2 inches above the surrounding grade. The width and length of the excavation should be a foot or so larger than the proposed pad to allow room for forming and installation of the grounding system. The pad size for other cabinets will vary as indicated in the instruction sheet. Now, construct a form for this foundation. The final pad size for an 82G cabinet is 169 inches long by 114 inches wide. Lay out the forming materials in the excavation so they are in their relative positions. The wooden forms used here were pre-cut to the correct lengths before delivering them to the job site. Assemble and secure the form with nails or screws of a sufficient length to hold the form together. Usually 3 screws or nails in each corner is sufficient. Square the corners of the form by measuring the distance between the diagonal corners. If the measured distances are not equal, the form must be adjusted until they are. Drive a wooden stake beside the form at the highest corner to establish the finished grade for the pad. Remember, the top of the finished pad should be about 2 inches above grade. Secure the form to this stake, making sure the top of the form is at the correct height for the finished pad. Drive another stake beside the form directly across from the first one. This will help keep the form in position and will be used to level the end of the form. Lift the corner beside this grade stake to level the end of the form. Check the form with a level to make sure the final grade is accurate. Now, secure the form to the stake. Drive additional stakes around the form, spacing them to provide the best support. 2 or 3 on the ends and 3 or 4 on the sides should be sufficient. Level the form and secure it to the stakes in a similar manner. Check all sides of the form again after it is secured to make sure it is level and not twisted. Next, install the end supports for the bracket. To determine their location, measure the thickness of the bracket from the top of the mounting plate to the bottom of the rail. This measures 3.5 inches. If the pad is sized for bracket installation without the extensions, this dimension will be 4 inches. Now, find and mark the center of one of the end forms. Make another mark about 12 to 15 inches out on each side of the center mark. Measure down 3.5 inches from the top of the form on the inside surface at each of these marks and make another mark. This will locate the top of the support for the bracket. Center a support about 3.5 to 4 feet long on the end of the form just marked and align the top edge with the 3.5 inch marks. Securely nail the support to the form. This support should allow the top of the mounting plates on the bracket to be even with the top of the finished pad. Repeat these procedures at the other end of the form to complete the supports for the bracket. Now, place the mounting bracket in the form so it is centered on the supports with the end plates oriented correctly for cable entrance into the cabinet. The weight of the assembled bracket with extensions is approximately 175 pounds. Please note that conduit placement is critical in this installation and may determine whether the foundation is usable or not. The end plates on these brackets allow proper placement of conduit for several different cabinets. Here, you see the correct placement of the copper cable conduit for all 82 type cabinets. At the AC power end of the cabinet, install the power and fiber optic conduits and run the ground wire through the appropriate holes in the end plate as detailed in the instruction sheet. Consult local practice for grounding system installation before backfilling. It is imperative to position the conduit following the diagram in the furnished instruction sheet for the cabinet being installed. Cap all fiber and copper conduit openings to avoid blockage from sand and concrete. Carefully backfill around the conduits, using sand to secure them in place. Remove the bracket and place it in a safe location. The foundation is now ready for a sand or gravel base. The bottom of the form can be used as a gauge to determine the amount of fill required. Use enough base to fill the excavated area under the form. Rake the base to spread it around so it is level with the bottom of the form. The next task is to install the reinforcing bars. Use the ED drawing or instruction sheet as a guide and place the reinforcing bars in the form. The reinforcing steel must be clean and free of any loose rust, scale, oil, and other matter which may adversely affect the bond. It must also meet the requirements per local practices. Place all the crosswise pieces first, then the lengthwise pieces. The ends of the bars should be a minimum of 1.5 inches away from the sides of the form. Wrap and twist tie with wire all the reinforcing bars at their intersections to secure the grid and prevent shifting when the concrete is poured. The reinforcing bars must be completely embedded in the concrete. To ensure this, place reinforcing bar pedestals under the reinforcing bars for support. The pedestals will raise the bars up into the foundation base. Another method to accomplish this is to drive short pieces of rebar into the ground and attach the grid for support. Reposition the bracket in the form so the conduits are positioned in the conduit openings and the ends of the bracket are centered on the supports. Use nails through the top slotted holes in the flanged end of the rail to hold the bracket in place. Check the form and the bracket to make sure they are level, that they don't have any warps or twists, and that the top of the mounting plates are even with the top of the form. Ensure the copper cable conduits are against the metal cutouts on the end plate. Failure to do so will interfere with the cabinet alignment and installation. If any additional adjustments are required, they must be made now before the concrete is poured. Failure to do so could result in a difficult cabinet installation or a misaligned cabinet. Carefully pour the concrete into the form. Do not pour the concrete directly onto the bracket. Also, exercise care not to step on the bracket. Stepping on the bracket may cause the bracket to dislocate and upset the level. Rake and shovel the concrete to keep it level and to make sure there are no voids. Extra care should be taken to make sure the area around the cable, fiber, and electrical conduit, and the area under both end plates, especially around the concrete anchors, is completely filled. Continue pouring and spreading, working across the form, being careful not to overfill. Pull a straight edge, such as a 2x4, across the top of the form in a sawing motion to level off the top surface of the concrete. Ensure the concrete is level with the mounting bracket or slightly below the bracket. While the concrete is still wet, it should be worked with a float to settle out the gravel and bring a smoother finish to the surface. After it is set, but while it is still workable, a trowel is used to smooth the surface and fine-tune the level. This step can be repeated as necessary while the concrete is still in a workable state. Setting time will vary depending on the temperature, humidity, etc. Remove any concrete or gravel from the top mounting surface of the metal bracket. Finish the edge of the pad with an edging tool. The smooth troweled surface should be broomed or brushed to provide a non-slippery work surface. After the pad is cured, remove the form and landscape the surrounding area to prevent erosion. Remember to keep the top of the finished pad approximately 2 inches above the surrounding grade. This completes the procedure for installing a foundation pad mounting bracket in a cast-in-place concrete pad for 82 type cabinets.